Unfunny. Didn't laugh. You're just injury. Michael Knowles is a based Italian American. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So I'm going to be watching a little bit more of Michael Knowles' content because I just fucking discovered him a few days ago, and my first impression of him was that he was kind of a fucking crazy person. And he said some fucking crazy shit and then didn't provide any detail or any explanation, just assuming his audience knew what he was talking about, probably because they're kind of culty. So let me go ahead and take a look.
I couldn't believe this. I had to read this multiple times to find out it wasn't a joke. New York City is telling pizza places that they need to cut their emissions by 3/4 or they're going to be put out of business. Now, before I get into this story, what do we say? Do we say pizzerias? Do we say pizzeria? Do we say pizza like the Italian pronunciation?
You said he was a based Italian. Why is he confused about what to say? You called him a based Italian.
Pizza places? Do we say pizza parlor? Remember we used to call them pizza parlors? No one really says that. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. What the fuck is he talking about? What the fuck?
It's a linguistic point for another time. New York
City,
City
God, why?
Is telling these pizzerie that they need to cut their emissions by 3/4. That's the Department of Environmental Protection new rules that say that wood-fired good pizza places need to change the way that they make pizza, or they're going to be shut down by the city. They're saying that there are harmful pollutants in neighborhoods with poor air quality, and we need to control emissions because people are going to choke on the pollution of a delicious, tasty pizza.
Crackdown on coal, wood-fired pizzerias, plan to slice New York pizza oven emissions by... It's BBC, this New York Post, this ABC7, this The Guardian. Green Matters, a proposed New York City emissions rule puts pizzeria. Let's take a look at that one, because Green Matters sounds kind of okay. Pizzerias feel heat as New York City targets. Let's do Fox 5 New York. Snopes is fucking weird. Green Matters. A New York City's carbon emissions rule encourages pizzerias to make big changes. Yeah, I understand why that sucks. I understand why that's not fun, because pizza, right? We all like pizza. I like pizza. I would hope we all like pizza. Global effort to reduce carbon emissions are steadily increasing, especially in high-volume cities like New York City, despite recent setbacks such as the 2023 Canadian wildfire smoke, which was fucking like a week ago, wasn't it? That was insane, creating dangerous breathing conditions. The city is kicking its climate change initiatives into high gear. How long ago did he make this? This is 2 weeks ago. He's talking about the pizzerias. One of the proposed initiatives by the New York City Department of Environmental Protection suggests that wood and coal-fired pizzas could become a thing of the past. The pizza industry itself isn't exactly environmentally friendly either, as it contributes to greenhouse gas emissions via the dairy industry. You do not need to put the either there. That is grammatically not necessary. But naturally, as dollar slices are a staple of New York culture, many people have mixed opinions on how much that could impact the environment. Keep reading for everything you need to know. You don't need to add that. I don't like that. That's stupid. Greenpoint, New York. Polly G's in Greenpoint, Brooklyn prides itself on wood-burning oven, but ovens like it are under fire from the New York City Department of Environmental... How dare they? How dare they prioritize the environment over pizza? I like pizza. I'm not gonna... I don't know. I'm on the fence here. Do I want a world, or do I want pizza? What's more important to me? Oh my god, greenhouse gases aren't real. They're not real. They're not real. I'm joking. They are. They definitely are. Don't take my sarcasm as reality, please. I'm not a super good I'm not a based Italian like Michael Knowles. I'm just a regular Italian. I'm not tan. I should go get a tan, shouldn't I? I should just take the day, do a little vlog, and go get a tan. Their painting is going to save the world. No, but it should do a little bit. Right? That's the point, is to, every penny matters kind of deal. All New Yorkers deserve to breathe healthy air, and wood and coal-fired stoves are among the largest contributors of harmful pollutants in neighborhoods with poor air quality. This common sense rule, developed with restaurant and environmental justice groups, requires a professional review of whether installing emission controls is feasible. I don't know. I feel like it's easier to substitute how you cook your pizza than it is to substitute better air quality. The 7 hottest days in history were like this year, I think. Yeah, CNN. I don't trust CNN. It's a piece of garbage. But of course they would be sitting there talking about that. Because this is actually like pretty true. Because I've seen, it was like 115 degrees in fucking Texas. Like I've seen people actually sending screenshots of it. Like it's not just like an agenda. It's not just being pushed. It's actually been getting progressively hotter and hotter and hotter in the world, which is more than enough evidence to suggest that we are polluting the world.
On the street or downstairs from my apartment. How wonderful would that be? That would be the most delightful fragrance that I could imagine in my apartment. But instead, they're saying, no, that's a very bad thing, and everybody hates the smell of pizza, of course, and that's why we're going to shut down the pizza shops.
What? Where in anything that I was reading, or any of the, like, titles, like, even CNN didn't say that people hate pizza. Who's saying that people hate pizza? Why are you saying that people are saying that people hate the fragrance of pizza?
And everybody hates the smell of pizza, of course, and that's why we're going to shut down the pizza shops.
I'm not saying that anyone hates the fragrance of pizza. It's this actual pollutants in the air is not a good thing. So perhaps substitute how you cook your pizza with a more environmental way to cook your pizza. That doesn't sound like the end of the world, and it doesn't sound like people are saying they hate the smell of pizza. New regulations to reduce carbon emissions from NYC. Right-wingers say pink-haired liberals are killing New York, which, I mean, that's kind of exactly what fucking Michael Knowles is talking about right now. He's super freaking out about liberals and pizza. What's the future of wood-fired pizzas in New York? It's a good title. But it's New York Times, so it's garbage. The New York City wants to reduce emissions from its iconic blah, blah, blah. New York City threatens pizzeria with coal. This is Fox News, of course, they're saying threatens. So you see my point here, guys. You just look at all these different sources, and you're like, all right, well who's... nobody is actually a DeSantis. The Fox's water mock ridiculous. Of course, DeSantis would call it ridiculous.
Does anyone really believe, first of all, that the emissions are going to cause the sun monster to end the world? No. The people who do believe Greta Thunberg, more than 5 years ago now, came out and said that if we don't cut off fossil fuels within 5 years, it will be too late and humanity will be wiped out.
That's not the point. It's not the point isn't... The point isn't that stopping or reducing emissions by 75%. Reducing emissions isn't going to save the world. And he's pointing that out. But he's acting like it's not going to help or go into a better direction for the world. Again, the whole every penny matters thing is very important here. And acting like pizza or the smell of pizza... Yeah, quality pizza, I think it's important to eat quality food, which is why I don't think you should be eating processed foods. Obviously, pizza isn't super healthy for you, but I mean, you get some good healthy toppings on it. Maybe it's not as bad, you know? I don't know, man. I think quality food matters, yes. I'm not going to sit here and say that the quality of the pizza is going to be better or worse if you cook it a different way. I know people that obviously are going to sit here and say coal-fired pizza is the best. It's bomb. Because it is. It tastes great. It's fucking fantastic. But at the same time, we've had like the 7 hottest days. Like, we've had the hottest days ever. It's fucking horrible. We literally had a day that was 115 degrees. 115 degrees, bro. I want to fucking die when it's 99. It's enough. It's enough, man.
And we've passed that point. So according even to the most prominent environmental activist in the world, it is too late. There is nothing we can do to stop catastrophic global warming that will wipe out the human race. So the only reasonable conclusion that one could draw from that, even if one believed the ridiculous premise, is to eat, drink, and be merry, and specifically to eat tasty wood-fired pizza.
It's not a ridiculous premise when the world is actually getting significantly more and more hot. It's not, like I said, it's not like, oh, they're pushing an agenda, which that's what I originally could have believed, because the only time I would actually see these degrees or these temperatures being recorded is on different sources, on different websites and newsletters, etc. I started to believe more that, yeah, clearly, obviously, climate change is very real, and global warming is very dangerous, because I'm watching people that I know fucking post screenshots of 115 degree days, 114 degree days. It's not fucking good, dude. Again, that's not my job, man. I don't do that. I'm not out there recording temperatures. I'm not out there checking body temperatures or averages. That's not my job. But when I see people who are actually taking screenshots and showing evidence that's not specifically from newsletters or things that push agendas, yeah, that's fucking concerning, bro. That's really fucking concerning.
But they're going to keep it up, even though they already say it's too late. Doesn't matter. We've still got to suffer. We've still got to sacrifice. We've still got to give up our pizza. And that's the point. That's the point. The reason that they're going after your pizza is not because your pizza is causing global warming. Compared to all of the other pollutants in the world, New York City wood-fired pizza represents 0.0% of the pollutants. They're going after your pizza specifically because it will make you suffer, specifically because it is a sacrifice, because sacrifices and suffering are an important part of religion, and environmentalism represents the pseudo-religion of the left.
What the fuck is he talking about? What the fuck was that? The pseudo-religion of the... He's saying that the left are religiously following climate change and the need to sacrifice in order to try to make it better, even though he's clarifying and saying that we've had, experts, whatever. I don't work with them. It's not my job. I don't know if they're experts. They claim to be experts. Fine. But he's saying that they say it's too late or whatever, but we have to make these sacrifices anyway. I mean, I think it's worth a try, because clearly something's happening to the world. Clearly it's getting hotter. Like, of course, I do believe, volcanic emissions are real, and that they're going to happen regardless, and that it's going to make it worse as well, and that it's a huge part of it. But at the same time, our actual emissions as a species is also bad, and to sit there and act like trying to make it better in general is just a cult thing is dumb. You can't sit there and just act like it's just a cult thing. You can't fucking sit there and say that it's a belief anymore. It's actually getting hotter.
Dietary rules around what you're allowed to eat, what's clean, what's unclean, they make up part of religion. And because liberalism is a mockery religion, it's a pseudo-religion to replace the traditional religion of our civilization, which is Christianity, they've got to have all that stuff too. And because societies are defined by their taboos, and taboo is a religious concept, they're going to make the thing that you really like taboo. A lot of people are curious as to why the liberal establishment seems so hell-bent on making us all eat bugs. You're seeing encouragements for us to eat bugs from institutions like the World Economic Forum, from popular celebrities like Nicole Kidman, from liberal politicians, from social media influencers on the left. Why? Why do they want us to eat bugs? Well, they say these bugs are really environmentally friendly, and you can grow them anywhere.
I mean,
and
yeah.
they're not going to cause the sun monster to kill us all.
The sun monster!
Despite how gross it seems, you have to eat the bugs. But the despite is what people are misunderstanding here. They're not trying to get you to eat bugs despite how gross they are. They're trying to get you to eat bugs because of how gross they are. Because it will violate one of your traditional taboos in your culture. And by changing the taboos, that will change your culture and it will change the entire political order. There is nothing that is more New York than pizza. That is what New York is.
That's it. I'm gonna order buds on my pizza, dude. Dude, bro, we eat buds every day. Fucking seafood, like shrimp and crawfish. They're like actual like crustaceans are buds. Did you fucking know that? Did you know that seafood is buds? And it's weird because they're sitting there. He's sitting there acting like it isn't conservatives that say we're gonna be eating buds. Fucking, I literally had people all at my most previous employer, like 90% of them were like, oh, one day we're gonna only be eating cockroaches, crickets or whatever, or fucking locusts. I'm like, what the fuck what are you talking about? Dude, the amount of crazy shit that I've seen conservatives talk about at my old job was like insane. I actually had this is a very sad anecdotal because I am a bisexual. I identify as that, you know. I don't really identify as much. I don't really like to identify. I would rather not exist. But I am a bisexual. And at my old job, this fucking weird guy, but this dude comes up behind me, you know, doing the whole pat me on the back thing, but it's like straight grabbing my shoulders and doing a full-blown like massage thing, and I'm like uncomfortable with it, you know, like yeah, yo, don't do that. And he just throws the F-bomb out and is like, well, I mean, come on, man, it's not like I'm a fat. That's not why I'm uncomfortable with you touching me. I don't like you as a person. I don't have an interest in you romantically. And it's like you're using that you're not gay as a excuse to touch me. And yeah, I don't know. That's just my impression of conservatives. It's very very sad. Like I actually had a particular event where we were on a job site. And we had one black guy that worked with us. He was just doing the trash, you know. I mean, that was just his job. That's just what he did. And there was no problem until one day he just brought a woman with him. I'm assuming it was his girlfriend. And we're all having lunch, and they were over there at some minivan. And all I hear is this dude yelling, "Die, bitch, die!" And I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, shit, what the fuck's happening? So me and like 5 electricians are like, yo, hey, don't talk to her like that. Like, we're trying to have lunch. Don't, you know, harass this person, this woman. And he came over starting to beef with us. And I just let, you know, the foreman know. I was like, hey, man, I just want to let you know this happened. This was a real thing. And he drops the N-word super hard. He was like, what do you want me to do about... I'm like, bro, you can't just say that to me and act like he's pretending like he can't do anything to help me the situation. And then fucking 10 minutes later, the guy got fired. And I was like, bro, that's literally all you had to do to begin with. Why are you sitting there getting mad that I'm calling you? That's the whole construction. Like, I have horror stories about construction, and they're all like extreme conservatives, and then they sit there and they act like liberals or left-leaning or Democrats or whatever the fuck you want to call them. I don't care. I'm very independent. They act like that's the problem. They're just sensitive. It's like, yeah, no, you're just an asshole. Like, what the fuck?
And so, if you are a social and political revolutionary and you want to change the culture of New York, you're going to go after the thing that defines it. And pizza is at the top of that list. And so they're going to come and they're going to take your pizza. And you know what I say? I'll channel my inner Charlton Heston. You can take my pizza from my cold, dead hands. As a New Yorker by birth and by education. So I think the grease from all that pizza in my whole life is one of the reasons that I look so good. When you want to look good and glowing, you got to check out Genucel. Right now, go to genucel.com.
Oh my god, another one of these. Oh my god.
BMI, which is one of the ways that we measure obesity. That is now racist, according to the American Medical Association.
What?
Which is the law.
I wasn't even done with the last crazy thing he was talking about. Now he's talking about BMI and measuring obesity and calling it racist. What are we talking about now? That's so random. So I wanted to finish wrapping up when he was talking about that pizza thing. Like, he's acting like people care. He's acting like they're coming after pizza culturally because it's, a tiny little, nudge to try to make New York more liberal and less conservative. Like it's some kind of art of war Sun Tzu strategy to... Bro, why are you thinking about that? That's so crazy, bro. That's like conspiracy theory level crazy. It's like paranoia. It's like they're trying to take our pizza because they're trying to remove the culture because it's conservative, and they're trying to push the liberal agenda into New York City. That's fucking... The fact that you sit there and take time to think that is as crazy, or maybe a little bit less crazy, but still extremely fucking nutty and stupid. Just as stupid and nutty as someone going, I have to take away the pizza because I have to push the liberal agenda. That's equally crazy. You're both crazy if you do that. If you think I'm going to come after the pizza because I know that it will make the world more liberal, that is just as crazy as a motherfucker going, they're trying to take our pizza away because they're trying to make the world more liberal. You're both crazy. He's acting like this agenda that they're pushing, if they were, I mean, no one's, I swear to God, if someone's actually out there trying to do that, they're not going to succeed because it's fucking stupid and crazy, and anyone that has that mentality isn't going to be socially or politically adept enough to make that happen because they're a fucking psychopath. But he's acting like someone doing that is like more crazy than him worrying about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. So let's talk about this obesity thing.
Largest council of doctors in the United States. They're going to say goodbye to it because BMI, they say, has racist roots. The report from the AMA says that, quote, BMI does not appropriately represent racial and ethnic minorities because it's based on the imagined ideal Caucasian of the 19th century without considering a person's gender or ethnicity. Racism, as we've observed on the show before, and is becoming increasingly clear in our culture, racist just means white. If a thing is white, if a thing has connection to white people, if a thing is more closely associated with white people than non-white people, it is racist. In our modern culture, white just means bad.
Why?
So because BMI was developed
Who
by
said
white
that?
people.
No, who said that? No, like, I personally have seen in social media that there are people who do genuinely believe that, but it's not like an overabundance, or like I see it every day. Like, why are we just accepting that and saying this is truth, bro? Not everyone's going to sit there and say white people are bad every single day. I mean, there's going to be people that do that. There's going to be people that, I mean, like you crazy conservatives that walk around and, I mean, bro, I literally was talking about my old job working air conditioning with these construction workers who literally tell me on a day-to-day basis that fucking black people are bad. That's a personal experience, and it's over 20 people. It's like, I've seen more people say the opposite.
People on white people using experiments that involved white people, it's just bad. Because America historically was a white country, America's bad. Because Europe is the continent of the white people, then Europe is bad. And
why? Or what are you saying? Why are you saying this?
Be blamed for things that take place in Asia, that take place in South Asia, that take place in Africa, that take place in Pacific Islands, slavery.
That's gonna be for
cannibalism,
everything.
Even cannibalism, which wasn't actually practiced in the West, and the word comes from the indigenous peoples of the Americas, and specifically from the Carib Islanders. Doesn't matter. There'll be anything that has existed everywhere. It's bad when white people do it. It's not bad when other people do it, and that's that.
Bro, white, you're acting like the world is accepting this concept that it's okay to shit on white people, which, yeah, I understand maybe that you've seen stuff like that. I've seen stuff like that. I've seen people shit on white people for their height, for their attitudes, or them not liking mayo because it's spicy, or their penis size. I've seen the opposite. I've seen like, you can't sit there and just act like there's this truth being pushed, or this, this fake truth being pushed, that white people are bad. Like, I understand that you feel that way, and I understand that you have seen these things and that you've experienced them, but that's not like some kind of universal truth that we're heading in that direction. And especially if you sit around and you start talking about it like, oh my God, they're trying to make white people bad. That's what it is. That's how the media is. That's how the world is. You keep talking about it. You keep bringing it up, and you keep making it more real. Like, that's what you're doing. You're literally just making racism more real. It's just stop doing it. Just stop talking about it. Stop, like, fuck, man. You're sitting here whining and bitching about your pizza like a little bitch, and crying about how, white people are viewed as bad sometimes, because they're definitely not always. You should go out and touch grass.
That, and you can try to make sense of it, and you can bang your head against one and say, wait a second, this is so crazy, these libs have gone too far. How on earth could you say that ways to protect the health, specifically the health of black people, could ever be racist? It doesn't, come on, the logic, it's not logical. You have to recognize that the libs are beginning with the conclusion. The conclusion is white people are bad. Okay? White people, they're the only group against whom you can legally discriminate and socially discriminate. Asians you can also legally discriminate against in college admissions and employment, and really specifically college admissions through affirmative action, but white people are the only group where you not only can legally discriminate against them, but it is socially acceptable and encouraged to insult them, to discriminate against them socially, to ostracize them. It's the only group. So,
yeah, I've seen that. Again, like, I've seen people encourage discriminating against Caucasians. That doesn't mean it's like some universal thing. That doesn't mean it's like real or it's coming to life. It's not some fucking mystical force or political agenda that's getting shoved down your throat. The more that you whine and cry and complain about it without being irrefutable, like, stop going to people who are being racist against Caucasians. Stop going to them and fucking being a whiny bitch about it. Go to them and be like, hey, and have a conversation, and just, I don't know, if you see racism, tell them that it makes you feel uncomfortable. That's what I do. I don't like when people talk negatively about black people. I go, hey, that makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like that. I don't believe in judging people based on the color of their skin. I feel the same way when people talk negatively about white people. Although, albeit when they say a joke, like, haha, white people didn't manage, it's spicy, that's extremely harmless. That doesn't fucking hurt anybody. Just the same way as, haha, black people like chicken. It's obviously not real. Like, obviously there are black people that don't like chicken. Obviously there are white people who don't believe that mayonnaise is spicy. The concept that it's okay to discriminate is wrong. You should not discriminate at all. So going around and bitching and complaining and whining about it like this is not helping people understand that it's wrong. You're just making a mockery of yourself and becoming a comedic icon, so people look at you and go, hey, look at this crazy guy that thinks we're taking pizza away because liberalism, and let's fucking laugh at him because he also thinks that white people are being discriminated against, even though that we've had the privilege of not being discriminated against for how many centuries, where we've been like using and abusing other demographics for centuries. We enslaved African Americans in the United States of America, and then once we finally gave them some kind of human right, we Jim Crow'd the fuck out of them and had segregation. Then we threw them into the fucking projects, which was government, housing, made it completely unaffordable to live there, and then made the only affordable way to actually leave selling drugs. But we criminalized drugs with the war on drugs in order to criminalize black people, to throw them into prison. The prison industrial complex, which was basically during that time, like 1900s, like late 1900s, in early 2000s, that was that form of slavery, was to make prisoners do it. You literally were enslaving prisoners. We have more people incarcerated per capita because of marijuana and other drugs. Bro, like, you criminalized drugs was the same thing as criminalizing black people. I'm sorry. That's what the government did. We have been actively shitting on minorities for that long, and you're going to sit here and actually pretend like that's not why there has been so much hatred and so much dislike for Caucasians. How are you going to sit there and act like white people didn't do all that? Like, you can sit there and say, yes, I understand we did all these fucking horrible things, so please, let's just move in a direction where you don't act like we deserve that as well. Like, you doing it back to us, you know, getting revenge on a race is not going to fix anything. Why not be more suggestive and, like, just be more helpful? Why whine and bitch and complain? I'm done with Michael Knowles. I'm not going to finish the rest of the video because I got mad. I'm angry because he's a fucking dumbass promoting all this fucking shit, whining and bitching and complaining about white people. Oh, like we haven't had the privilege of being white for hundreds of fucking years. Yeah, we've done a lot of things that have benefited African Americans, and yes, there are racial inequalities that put white people below other demographics in certain areas. Not for fucking everything, not for anything important, really. Just because there is discrimination towards white people doesn't mean you should run around and start bitching and complaining, acting like you didn't have centuries of your ancestors having white privilege. I'm sorry. And the pizza thing was stupid too. How are you going to sit there and fucking say that liberals are going to come and replace your pizza with liberalism? I can't with him anymore. I can't watch the rest of this. Michael Knowles is fucking stupid.
Complete.